Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you all. It's Monday, which means it's time for another one of our viewer specials yet again. I really like it that we're doing this every week again. It's been a while since we have been doing it every week, but I'm really getting immediately back into that feeling of like getting really excited to start introducing this video and looking at all of your games here. So for those who are unfamiliar, the viewer special is a weekly series we do every Monday in which I share games shared by, well, you all, the viewers. It allows us to see some more decks that we don't normally see, as well as some playstyles we don't normally see, as I'm a firm believer that in order to grow at any game, but especially Yu-Gi-Oh!, the best way to do that is to watch multiple people play multiple different decks. So I want to give you all, of course, also a chance at the spotlight, so to speak, here, because you all often have very insightful things to add about certain decks in the comments below. So this is also a chance for you all to show off your expertise here. If you would like to submit games to the viewer special, it's very easy to do so. I just need your 9-digit player ID as shown here. You can go ahead and leave that either in the comment section below here in this video, or if you go ahead and check out the description below, you'll find a link to my Twitter page where I have a pinned tweet where I also gather all of those replies. So either way you want to submit it, that is completely fine. Again, really just need the 9-digit player ID, but it's also very helpful if you have a specific game you want me to see, to go ahead and leave some information like, you know, the date and time or the name of the player that you played against. You can also leave a little bit of a blurb about the game. That's also very helpful, like I played this deck versus this deck, and then maybe a little bit about how the game went if you so choose to share that information as well. And also know that I do end up watching pretty much every game that gets submitted. Even if I don't feature them, I'll still watch them, and even if you don't get featured this week, you can always feel free to submit in future weeks as well. I really just ask that you don't spam submit the same game over and over again, but even if you have a bunch of different games you want to submit all of them, feel free to do that. That is a-okay with me. So we have 3 duels picked out here that we're going to take a look at today. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive straight into the first one here. Alright, so our first duel comes to us here from Best Toadette, who has a game in which they played, I believe it's this one here, Trap Tricks against Fluanderies. Trap Tricks is the Backrow based deck from the new selection pack that I've not gotten into. I played a little bit of Furniture Lab, but really Backrow decks are not, I would consider, my area of expertise. I tend to more favor the combo decks, so definitely eager to see how you all play a Backrow deck here, or how, I guess, Best Toadette plays a Backrow deck here. Starting off with the Prosperity, gonna find Evenly Torrential and Ash Blossom. Taking the Torrential makes sense here because we, of course, already have both Ash Blossom and Evenly. Mermilla is going to grab the Trap Tricks Holieta. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that card's name, but I've noticed that this card definitely seems to add a lot more like combo potential to Trap Tricks. We are, of course, also playing the Parallel Exceed here, which is going to allow us to go for a free rank 4 and extend our plays that way as well. I imagine, yep, it's going to be the Rafflesia. I've not played against like a ton of Trap Tricks on ladder so far this format, but I've played against enough, not only in the past, but also now with the new support to, I think, generally get a vibe of what they're trying to do here. It's, as usual, a lot of Sarah shenanigans, but again, with more combo potential between the Holieta as well as the Trap Strip Garden, I know has some extension capability. And then, of course, there's like the one that specifically searches the field spell as well. So, yeah, this inboard looks fairly standard. Rafflesia, Sarah, and the Pinguicula. Pinguicula. I think there's I remember looking this up on stream when this card got played during the GP Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, and the more common name for them is Butterwort. I think Trap Tricks Butterwort would have been a much more fun name, but hey, I guess that's just me. So, looks like opponents starting their flow plays. They got the Dimensional Fissure and the Rabina down. We do have the Ash Blossom for the Rabina, so that's good. And they don't seem to have a map, so yeah, I think that's going to go ahead and just put an end to their turn. Always nice when they don't have the follow-up map / advent / whatever, you know, but... Alright, we're going to be summoning another Sarah here. Makes sense, obviously, this is the star card of our deck. Also, yes, we'll trigger our Torrential, which Sarah is immune to, and then also trigger Sarah's ability to summon a Trap Tricks from the deck. Mermilla is going to pop the Dimensional Fissure because she was special summoned, so now we get to put our Trap Tricks monsters in the graveyard once again. Although I think that Dimensional Fissure didn't end up hurting us too much, because we already put a lot of stuff in the graveyard, I know, on turn 1 there. Although we did get some stuff banished still. All right, Butterwort here is going to grab the Pudica. Pudico is the one that adds the field spell there. We don't quite have lethal yet, but our flow player is very far behind on advantage. Ooh, they do have an evenly, which we're going to go ahead and get rid of everything but the Gravedigger's Trap Hole. We do have an Ash Blossom for their follow-up play. And then, yeah, the Gravedigger's Trap Hole makes sense because it does prevent the activation of effects from the Banish pile. So, yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense that way, even if they do have something like an Advent of Adventure or something like that, or even, yeah, just this Rabina effect that's activating here, that's not going to end up resolving. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't Ash Blossom the Rabina on field, of course, because it got chain blocked by the Rabina in Banish. But that's not going to be able to activate again, and we can just Ash Blossom this Eaglin anyway, so it's not going to really end up mattering too much here. Now, I know the Pudica can grab the Trap Trip Garden, but does that summon from Graveyard? I think it only summons a Trap Tricks monster from hand, but I don't recall off the top of my deck. If it summons from Graveyard, then we have a pretty easy route to lethal here. If not, we might have to find a top deck here. Let's see, the Imperm I don't think is going to do it. Well, let's go ahead and read Trap Trip Garden. Yeah, it's a normal summon, an additional... Oh, but you can also special from your hand or graveyard. Got it. Okay, so yeah, this should be fine, because yeah, we can summon the Dionea. Dionea, I think, is the one that summons more Trap Tricks monsters, is that right? Yes, so then, yeah, at that point we can make a rank 4, and our opponent's at low enough life points, and it's a very non-threatening board, so... yeah, it seems like a pretty easy route to lethal there. Thank you very much for sharing. Like I said, I don't tend to play too many Backrow-based decks myself, and even then, Trap Tricks is definitely the one that's a bit more of a mystery to me, as I just run into it a little bit less than others on ladder. So, always nice to get some more experience. Again, one of the reasons I love doing the viewer special is just getting some more experience with decks that I don't see too often here. So thank you very much, and let's go ahead and check out this next game here. Alright, so our next duel comes to us from viewer special veteran Mixed P, who has been submitting quite literally since the first ever viewer special we did, which I believe was well over a year ago at this point, or if not right about a year ago. In any case, Mixed P submits very great games very often to the channel, so thank you as always. Today we're going to be taking a look at, I think it's this game here. Yes, it's just going to be a branded mirror match. Now, branded is a deck that I do play a bit more often, but it is one I tend to be a little bit less, I guess, confident about how I play it, just because I don't play it as often as I do other decks. So, alright, looks like we're going to be taking the first turn here. Opponent's on the 60 card variant, and we are on the 40 card variant. Going to be starting with the Lubellian effects, grabbing a Magnum Hut. We also have the opening and the fusion and the Spriggan's Kit. Looks like we're going for the Rindabrum line here. I didn't mean to click through that animation so quickly. I just wanted to note that we were sending the Albaz and the Mercurier, which is going to summon the Rindabrum here. Alright, now the Saronir is coming down. I think some people might wonder why not Spriggan's Kit for the branded Lost first, but it's not quite the same as normal summoning Alibur, which is why I don't think we normal summoned it here, because we would have having to give up a card in hand, which might not necessarily be better than the branded Lost, and we get to activate off the Rebellion here anyway, so... Oh, plus, we're going to use Spriggan's Kit to add it branded in white. That's right, I always forget that branded in white is part of this combo line here, and so yeah, we actually did need to save the Spriggan's Kit for that. Alright, Granganol's coming down. We get to use the branded Lost ability as well. Interested to see what we send off Granganol here. Of course, Lost is going to add Mercurier for a monster negate, and we're sending the Ad Libitum, and we're going to use that with the branded in white, maybe? Or we're just setting it up in the graveyard now. Okay. Yeah, again, I'm always second guessing myself when it comes to branded plays, just because, again, I don't have quite as much experience with this deck. This is part of the line I do remember, you know, that we activate the Mirror Jade, negate it with the Rindabrum, that allows us to bounce the Lubellian back to our hand, and it'll also have it set up so that the Mirror Jade can still activate on the opponent's turn, because the effect that says that you can only use the effect, or that you can't use the effect on the next turn, that's a part of Mirror Jade's effect resolving. I'm referring to this part of the line here. Cannot use this effect next turn. That only applies if Mirror Jade's effect does resolve there. So, alright, opponent is going to activate their Lubellion to grab their Magnum Hut now, confirming, well, I guess not necessarily confirming that it's a mirror match, because those cards can see play in any number of decks. The Allure banishing the Albaz, though, will pretty much confirm it at this point. So, Mercurier is going to activate to negate the Magnum Hut here. That will stop the opponent from getting any advantage off of the Branded Regained. Got a normal summon the Albaz, activating the effect, pitching that same Magnum Hut. Yeah, of course, we can just chain the Mirror Jade effect to banish the Albaz. That way the effect won't resolve, because you do have to, of course, fuse with the Albaz on the field there. This will allow our opponent to draw a card off the Regained, but that's totally fine. They've used their normal summon to Magnum Hut. They have a Saronir, I'm not quite sure if they top decked that, but either way, we do have the Branded in red in response. So, seems like we just have a lot of the best just counters here in general. Now we're going to make use of Ad Libitum, fusing it with the Mirror Jade in order to summon Dragostapelia. Ad Libitum can then get back the Mirror Jade, and its effect will reset, so it'll actually be able to banish another monster. Opponent's going to get to summon their, Magnum Hut off the Regained, but that's relatively fine. We get to add an Albaz off Branded Lost for the follow-up turn here. And now we have a Monster Negate, as well as, actually we have two Monster Negates, because we have the Rindbrum as well. The Rindbrum also has a bounce, and we have the Mirror Jade Banish still as well here. So we're looking really, really good here. Yeah, as soon as the Rebellion hits the board, just going to banish it. That'll stop them from setting up either a Lost or Beast. Ooh, wow. Opponents, because they're on a 60 card build, doing a bit of a deep cut here. They have Despia Theater of the Branded, fusing that with a Dramaturge in hand, as well as a Saronir in hand. The Dramaturge will get to summon itself. The Saronir will get to send some amount of Branded or Bestial cards, I'm sure. Looks like we have the Magnum Hut coming down to banish the Dramaturge. That way we won't be able to come back. And yeah, we're sending the Retribution. Makes sense. Now we are under the Tax Dragon. We have plenty of life points, and we're also way ahead on advantage. So Tax Dragon is not nearly as scary as it might be sometimes here. Looks like opponent is going to end up using the Branded Fusion in order to summon their own Rindbrum, ultimately just crashing the Rindbrums before moving to main phase 2. Dragostapelia is going to end up negating the Masquerade. More like, I guess, reducing its level to 1, because that doesn't actually, if I recall correctly, yeah, does not stop the effect that causes us to take damage. That's actually a continuous effect and not an activated effect. But at the same time, it's like, there's kind of no reason not to Dragostapelia there. Changing the level could matter for various fusion summons, and, you know, the Dragostapelia is once per turn anyway. Okay, looks like we're going to summon a Coratus here. I'm guessing that was mainly to provoke the opponent's Baldrake, but that ends up being a pretty huge misplay, because it still gets rid of their monster, and then it actually gets rid of both as the... oh, we're playing the Boarload Furious. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this as well, and I was wondering if we were playing the Boarload Furious, because I'm actually about to, I think tomorrow, put out my next Branded Despia video myself, and when I was building for that new build there, I noticed that a lot of people have been on the Boarload Furious Dragon lately, which makes a lot of sense, because Bestials are kind of at an all-time high as far as how much they're being played in this meta. Dragon Link is a very popular deck. We can still fusion some of this even with our own monsters, and it's a very, very good super poly target, as well as just being generally a really good card. Yeah, we get to pop our opponent's card as well as our own. And yeah, given this is happening as it's about to change, yeah, back over to our turn, I imagine this duel is just about over. Flipping up the Banishment just to get back the Rindbrum, because why not? Yeah, Lubellion effect. At this point, I don't know if our opponent has anything relevant in the graveyard that'll proc. They do have the Masquerade, so I think it does behoove us to put maybe at least a couple more bodies on the board just to make sure we have lethal here. I mean, there's no reason not to, right? Oh, but the Masquerade can't summon itself, okay. Popping the Despia because we can before swinging in for lethal. Beautiful. And even if the Masquerade had brought itself back, I think we still have the Mirror Jade banished there as well. So, alright, thank you very much for submitting that Despia Mirror. Mixed P, as always, it is a pleasure watching your duels. We do have one more game to jump into, so let's go straight into it here. And our final game comes to us from Doc, who left a YouTube comment last week. Doc has a game for us. I believe it should be the top one here. Yes, and that is going to be Dragon Link versus Tier Limit. Dragon Link is definitely a little bit more my speed as far as like the style of deck I'm more familiar with. Dragon Link itself, again, I'm still kind of learning. I've been very stuck in my Punk and Sprite decks for the last couple of months, but still trying to keep my knowledge of the general meta diverse. That's actually why I like playing a lot of different decks. I mean, of course, I do it for the channel as well, but playing with a lot of different decks really gives you the opportunity to get a feel for how their combo lines work and what like options they often have access to. So in that regard, it can be good to then play against those decks as well. It looks like the opponent did, in fact, clear our Maxi minigame. They had the Ash Blossom and are now setting up tier plays. Lots of tier plays. They're foolishing for the Rhino Heart. Wait, did they foolish the Rhino Heart? Yes, they foolish the Rhino to activate to send the Havness. Makes sense. We do have the Magnum Hut for this Havness, so that's good. Oh my god, they hit both Millers off the Scream? That's brutal. That's actually really brutal. Oh my god. It's not just brutal because they get to mill a lot of their own cards, but like, when you're not on tiers and they do resolve the Millers, it's, I don't know, you know, I've said a lot in the, even recently, not just in the past, that it's not right to just blind use Millers. But honestly, I don't know. The meta right now is at such a close spot where that statement might not be correct, but I think there might be like just enough tier limit decks out there. Yeah, like Kickless usage rate at 28.7%, like having between 25 and 30% chance to just play a mirror match is still, I think, pretty high. And the you know, playing a Bestial Magnum Hut does not exclude you from playing against a mirror match here. I wonder if that's why we're on the water field, is to kind of throw our opponents off in that regard as well. I try not to pay too much attention to cosmetics. That's honestly, on average, not really any kind of indication of what deck your opponent's on. It can be sometimes, but not often. Not always. Alright, I kind of just started talking just as our opponent was still doing tier things. Hashtag just tier things. So they set up both shufflers in the yard, which is also a little bit brutal. What did we get milled for? The Rebellion's kind of helpful. The Safe Roots might matter. The Chaos Space gets us an extra draw. We have one of each Wagger Burster and Collapse Syrup, and I hope we're playing two of each in that regard. Although I guess we could probably just end up putting one back at some point. Here comes the Shuffler. They're using that against the Safer, is that right? Yeah, they're using that against the Safer effect. Okay, and then yeah, we're gonna use Druid Sworn to get rid of the Merly they're trying to summon. That makes this board a lot less scary. Like, here's the thing, and this is actually the thing about tier limits and where you have to often be careful when you're playing tier limits and doing the sack kick close to mill. Like, sometimes you just don't hit anything relevant and you're not able to set up, like, a threatening board. Like, our opponent kind of had everything there, but they ended on Elf and Maxi and a couple of back rows, which even if they're Crime or Solic, they can't use. Like, you don't want to end up in a situation like this, especially in this meta with the Bestials, where we're relying on summoning the Merly off the Elf just to have, like, any kind of semblance of plays on our opponent's turn. Okay, they do have the Heartbeat as well to blow up their own Scream, and I imagine send a tier monster. Yes, a Rhino Heart. Do they have another tier card in hand? Yes, they do. Okay. They might have added all this, and I just wasn't paying that much attention as I was kind of rambling there at the end of the opponent's turn, but... Alright, both Havness and Rhino are activating, but we haven't committed, like, anything yet as far as our hand or our summons go, right? Yeah, we haven't committed, like, anything at all here, so this is all totally fine. Refusing for Kickalos. Okay, I was gonna say Kaleido might be a little bit odd just against Dark here, although it might not have actually been that terrible of an idea. Like, could we not have just Kaleido'd, sent the Dark back, and then if we still needed to later use Rolkalos, send Kaleido, send the third Fuser, and then summon Kickalos? I don't know. Alright, looks like Solic's gonna end up sacking the Kickalos. Maybe that's why we're sending Kickalos. I guess that makes... Well, we could have sent Kaleido Heart. Anyway, whatever. Either way, Levianeer is getting negated. We're gonna proc the Shyren and the Kickalos. I don't really know what Kickalos is trying to mill at this point. We've already used all our Shufflers, Millers, and Fusers. Here's the Kaleido Heart, which I guess we could still sack off the Rolkalos. Yeah, just kind of a random hodgepodge of our remaining deck here going to the graveyard. Activating Chaos Space for the Collapse Serpent. We still have that and the Quick Launch, which is really just about all Dragon Link needs to make plays. We're going to get a draw with this Chaos Space here. It's an Ash Blossom. It's probably not going to be super relevant. We do still have the Rolkalos effect to be mindful of, but that's really it. I mean, even though it can seem like a lot of the time Tier Limit has like never-ending plays, like at this point their plays have ended. They've used all the Fusers, they've used their Shufflers. I think one is still in the yard, or they've used both. Let me see here. As soon as the game will let me scroll. Okay, yeah, they still have the Caldo in the yard, but they've used the Millers, they've used Kaleido Heart, they've used Kickalos, so yeah, it's literally just the Rolkalos effect left right now. Although, have they already used that? Because they're not activating it like at all. I might have just missed that. Okay, Nightmare Unicorn. I mean, either way, this is gonna get rid of the Rolkalos right here. Yep. Although we might not have been, that might have all been like not effects that summon, because yeah. Oh, we have the Rocket Tracer and the Quick Launch. That's awesome, because now we get to do both. And yeah, I mean, at this point, we can just make the Borland. I was gonna say we could also, yeah, we have access code as well, potentially, but yeah, Borland. Oh, that's right, Borland can battle with everything. I always forget that, honestly. That I feel like we could have done during the main phase, maybe? Or is there might be some effect that only keeps us for, or only allows us to battle with one monster. I mean, either way here, we have the ability to negate a monster effect and, well, and any effect. Well, I guess not because of the Keldo right here, but it's going to be very hard for our opponents to top deck their way out of this. Because even if it's like Rhino, we can negate that with Borland. If it's Merly, we negate that with Borland. Although we do... Opponent does have Celiac. Okay, they just got a Scream, so that's going to be it. I was going to say, if our opponent top decks Rhino and we negate with Borland, they can still technically chain Celiac, so that might not have actually just been a guaranteed out there, but yeah, opponent didn't have anything towards the end there anyway. So, alright, thank you very much, Doc. I would love to see Dragon Link again, that any kind of like deck that involves synchroing and Link spamming. It's usually going to be right up my alley, that and Light and Dark monsters, but... Alright, it's going to go ahead and do it for this viewer special. Thank you all very much for tuning in. And again, remember, if you want to submit your games, you can do that in either the comment section below, or if you follow the link in my description to my Twitter profile, it's the pinned tweet there. But let's go ahead and move now to our outro. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end of the video like this. That means a whole lot to me. Not just personally, but it's also a great way of supporting the channel as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other means, you can of course feel free to comment and or subscribe right here on YouTube. I'm always looking to the comments section. You guys leave some pretty awesome feedback as far as like constructive criticism goes when it comes to deck building, gameplay, channel content, all that stuff. So feel free to leave your opinion down there. I will be sure to take a look at that there. And then subscribing is going to be the best way to get notifications of when these videos drop. That does happen every day, by the way, so if you're looking for daily Master Duel content, you've come to the right place. And there are more places where you can get some daily Master Duel content. If you check out the description below, follow the top link over to my Patreon page. There, for just $5 a month, which is as much as you pay for a booster pack, you'll find a lot more value than a pack full of filler over there. We've got some previews for content upcoming here on the channel. We've got some exclusive games that are only posted over on Patreon over there. We've got some Q&As, and then you can also have your name featured in this lovely credit sequence where I thank all of the people who are helping contribute over there on Patreon. It's a huge support to the channel, and it really means a lot as well. So thank you everyone who is donating that is featured here on screen. And again, you know, it's not just a pure donation, you do get some more daily Master Duel content over there just for being a part of the Patreon. But I think that's about all the time that I have for today's video. Once again, I just want to thank you so very much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. Again, it just means a lot as I do put a decent amount of work into getting these videos out every single day. But that's about all the time that I've got for now. So without further ado, this is XLex. I'm signing out, and I hope you have a fantastic day.